This year's Royal Rumble was predictable until it very much wasn't. But it was also quite exciting the whole way through. This is my review of the 2025 WWE Royal Rumble. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. From Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications to get all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, wrestling opinion pieces, assorted thoughts on Raw and SmackDown, WWE Premium Live Event prediction, and of course, review videos. Now, I'm recording this. It's around 9 o'clock at night on February the 2nd, so a day after the Royal Rumble. I'm not sure when I'm going to get this up, hopefully pretty soon. Now, this is my first time reviewing a Royal Rumble, in this format at least. I have, of course, watched a lot of Royal Rumbles, and I was sort of trying to think, how am I going to tackle this? I mean, do I grade it the same way I grade the other Premium Live Event matches? I mean, a Royal Rumble match has a lot more going on. How much of it do I actually recap? Well, I found a system that I think is going to work. Let's dive right in with the Women's Royal Rumble match. The first two entrants were two very strong contenders, Io Sky, Liv Morgan. They lasted quite a while. The third entrant, though, lasted the longest, in fact, set a record for time in a Women's Royal Rumble match, and was the second to last, or was the last person eliminated, which is amazing when you realize it was NXT's Roxanne Perez. I'm sure she's going to be on the main roster soon, but really good job for Roxanne Perez. There was also Lyra Valkyria. We got some other people early on. We got Ivy Nile. We, of course, got Chelsea Green early on, and Chelsea's arc was very interesting. She survived a decent amount of time, enough for Piper Niven, her secret Hervis, I guess instead of service, Hervis, unpretty her, I don't know, to get in there. And her arc was interesting because it was Piper Niven who eliminated her. We also got someone who I didn't think was going to do all that well, but Maxine Dupree. I'm glad that she eliminated Ivy Nile. And I find it hilarious that the only person the three members of the PFC Pure Fusion Collective eliminated was Maxine Dupree. Great job for this faction. If you thought this faction was going to get some heat, I mean, Cole did put them over when they came in, but no, they didn't. Number 10, we got Bianca Belair. We got some of the bigger contenders in there. We got some more people from NXT in there. We got Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. Yeah. Julia had a bit of a face-off with Io Sky. We, of course, though, got someone who was sort of on and off NXT last year, was in last year's Rumble, but now is a full-fledged member of the WWE roster, Jordynne Grace. Now, she really dominated in this match. She was really impressive. Of course, she was eliminated by Julia, the current NXT Women's Champion, so I hope that doesn't mean that she's going to be going to NXT. No, I'm pretty sure she's going to Raw or SmackDown. She's signed. She's a former TNA Knockouts champion. She's obviously going to be big time. Maybe that means Julia's going to lose that belt and then go to the main roster too. Who knows? Also, there was a bit of fun interplay where her and Naomi hugged, and Bianca Belair was not very happy about that and attacked Jordynne Grace. And Jordynne did last a good time in this match, but of course, people thought she was going to show up. She was a surprise entrant that wasn't really a surprise. Someone who definitely was a surprise, in fact, got the biggest pop of the night, was the returning Alexa Bliss. Amazing, huge crowd pop for Alexa Bliss. She was not supposed to be back, but she was back. She came in with her Lily doll, looked a bit different, looking very Wyatt family. So maybe she's going to be part of the Wyatt Six. I'm pretty sure this means she's going to be back, possibly, I guess, on SmackDown or at least on Raw. And she impressed the crowd. Again, huge crowd pop. She didn't last that long. She was thrown out by Liv Morgan. Guess there's room for only one Harley Quinn coded character around these parts, because Liv kind of is going for the same thing. Anyways, but yeah, massively over. There were some other surprise entrants. We got Trish Stratus, Charlotte Flair at number 27. She wasn't a surprise. She's the queen. She announced she was supposed to be back. There were some other surprise entrants. In fact, when number 30 came up and Charlotte had already been number 27, Me and the people I was watching with and I all really thought it was going to be Becky Lynch. Hoped it was going to be Becky Lynch, but instead it was Nikki Bella. She got a huge pop, but I mean, I wasn't really watching around the time where the Bella twins were a thing. I'm aware of who she is, and I don't know if this means she's back permanently or just for the night. Of course, the one who really dominated, came in a little bit before her, was Nia Jax. Cleared house, eliminated Trish, eliminated a number of other people, and we were left with the final three eventually, which was Charlotte Flair, Nia Jax, and Roxanne Perez. And believe it or not, Nia went out before Roxanne. And then Roxanne put on an amazing show, but you know, the queen is back. It was predictable, but it makes perfect sense because I really want to see Charlotte Flair against Tiffany Stratton. She hasn't officially announced who she's going to challenge yet, but come on, you've already fought Rhea. You lost that one. Go for Tiffany. Everyone wants to see that. Anyways, yeah, it was exactly what we predicted. She was going to win. I thought she was going to come in at number 30, be a total heel, but no, the crowd loved it. Great victory. The queen is back. As far as the women's Royal Rumble match, now, how am I going to rate this? The story, I mean, there's several different stories going in. So the story going in, I'm going to say maybe an A-. In-ring storytelling, I think it's, unless they really botch stuff, it's an A+. In-ring work, it's, let's say an A. I mean, sort of averages out. I mean, obviously not everyone was doing as great, but they all came up to the game. And overall enjoyment, I'd say an A+. I'd say, you know what? I'm going to give it an A+, despite the predictable ending. That's my overall rating. Very good women's Royal Rumble match. Next up, for the WWE Tag Team Championships, in a 2 out of 3 falls match, the champions DIY defend against Motor City Machine Guns. Now, I'm not going to spend too long on this match because the other matches were way bigger, both lengthwise and I guess relevance-wise, but I'm glad the SmackDown tag team scene got some play here. Basically, Motor City Machine Guns dropped the first fall to DIY. DIY got the first fall. MCMG rallied and got the second fall. And there was a bit of deceptive things when Tommaso Ciampa went under the ring to pull down one of the MCMGs. Can't remember which one it was. There was they basically also got in the ring, distracted the referee, and so they missed the tag, and because of that, it looked like DIY was maybe going to steal a pin out, but MCMG came back, and then we had a surprise entry. I thought it was going to be pretty deadly. It wasn't on one side. And then wait a second, it's the Street Profits, and they took out MCMG, caused DIY to win. But was this a heel turn? Was it yes, to a certain extent? Was it a complete heel turn? No, because, of course, the Street Profits just attacked DIY and posed with their championship belts. I thought there was going to be a run-in. I didn't think it was going to be them. Okay, so for the first Rumble match and for the last Rumble match, I didn't mention the crowd. Crowd's A+. For all those matches, including the next one. This one, the crowd was a little bit not as good. It was maybe a sort of a B- crowd, but this was the match. This was the sort of go and get a drink match, understandably, with everything else so heated and with 2 really long Rumble matches. So story is developing. The whole scene is developing. I'd say a B+. In-ring work or in-ring storytelling, A. In-ring work, A+. Crowd, B-. I'd give this one maybe a B+. I'm glad I saw this match. I'm glad it was on this card, but it kind of felt like a SmackDown match on a bigger stage. Like it didn't really sort of jive with the heavy WrestleMania implications, importance of some of the other matches. It's not their fault. All the performers were very good. And I'm really glad this was here. But yeah, it definitely was my least favorite match of the night, but not because I didn't like it. In a ladder match for the undisputed WWE Championship and the Winged Eagle Championship, the champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, defends against the supposed Winged Eagle champion, Kevin Owens. Now, to call this a match is being a little bit misleading. I mean, yes, there were wrestling moves. There was a championship on the line. But this was mainly a fight. You know how they say you can use the ladders as weapons? Well, they used the ladders as weapons. That was the predominant thing that happened in this match. KO would attack Cody, like push back on the ladder. Cody would do the same thing to KO. All sorts of moves, crossroads, you name it. At one point, they even started fighting with a mini ladder, throwing it back and forth, attaching each other with the mini ladder. Like, obviously, they're not going to use that ladder to get the belt, but it was still definitely a weapon. I have no idea why it was there other than as a weapon for them to use. Yes, they did try to climb the ladder to get the belts. At one point, Cody was even swinging, holding on to the belts. That didn't work. It was spectacular, and it was very violent to say the least. At one point, both of them were knocked out. And Sami Zayn came to, he checked on his best friend for years, KO first. He checked on Cody as well, too. At this point, I was getting worried that he was going to interfere and cheat on behalf of KO to help him win. And I thought that would be absolutely wrong, because especially if they're going Zayn Owens at WrestleMania, you don't want them to be both heels. You want there to be passion. And he didn't interfere, though you could see him telling KO not to do the package pile driver on the announce table. But instead, and KO didn't succeed. Instead, Cody did an Alabama slam, gave an Alabama slam to KO off the table through the ladder, and that knocked KO out. That looked rough. And KO did not move after that. Cody did use that as an opportunity to go up and get the belts. And still undisputed WWE champion, and now probably the Winged Eagle champion. Hopefully we're going to get a new belt out of this one. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. But then as Sami Zayn was tending to his down friend, Kevin Owens, you could even see he wasn't moving, but his nose was bloody from, I guess, an earlier attack. Cody even posed over KO again by the ring, by the announce table. Came back and posed over his down former comrade. Made me wonder. More on that in a bit. Let's just rate the match. Storytelling, A+ across the board. No, excellent match. No complaints. Actually, not an excellent match. An excellent fight. Really well done. Really well worked. I knew they were all going to go their all, and they did go their all. But yeah, I'm wondering, with Cody posing over KO at the end, after he'd already won, he'd already done the big thing. He comes back and poses over his former friend. Sami's tending to KO. KO's injured, got the blood on his nose, not moving. I'm wondering if maybe they're giving Cody a bit of a heel tint here. I mean, I don't think they're going to turn him. They're giving him more of an edge, definitely an attitude. This was a fight, and he said, "I'm going to do anything," but he's not really the milquetoast babyface he was earlier in the year, although he still is that in some regards. So I'm wondering if this is perhaps showing a heel turn for Cody Rhodes. Maybe down the line. Probably not at WrestleMania, I guess, depending on who he faces. With that in mind, it's time for the men's Royal Rumble match. The first two participants, Rey Mysterio and Penta. That's some good booking. I mean, that's a dream match for the future, maybe even a WrestleMania match for this year. We got to see a little bit of it, but at one point, Penta, apparently only one of his feet touched the floor, but of course, there was no instant replay provided. Of course, it's with the ref C at the time. Maybe both feet touched. It kind of looked like both feet touched the floor, but anyways, it's important to have Penta in the early part of the match. Chad Gable made it a three-way. We got Carmelo Hayes, Otis, so Santos Escobar, Otis. The ring was filling up. Not that it was a good start to the match, but of course the two first were still the dominant ones, and of course we got Braun Breaker in there, and then we were supposed to have Akira Tozawa, but Carmelo had just been eliminated, knocked out Akira Tozawa, and Triple H sent in iShow Speed, someone who I'm not that familiar with, but I'm told he's a big streamer. And the whole celebrity appearance in the Rumble, yeah, Drew Carey was in the Royal Rumble, and he was facing Kane, but he didn't need a chokeslam from Kane, whereas iShow Speed, celebrating after he helped eliminate Otis, ate a really rough spear from Braun Breaker. And then Breaker lifted him up, threw him over the top. Otis caught him. Otis chucked him onto the announce table. Wow. For a celebrity random shot in the Royal Rumble, that way he earned his stripes. I show speed, props, man. You did your job. You took a serious bump from one of the roughest people out there. We got Sheamus, Jimmy Uso, Andrade, but of course things really picked up when Jacob Fatu entered. Wow, the Samoan werewolf, the guy who is like the next big thing. He ran roughshod. We got Ludwig Kaiser playing it cool and then getting chucked out of the ring. We got The Miz. But then in our, first big surprise entrant, say his name, he appears. I believe Joe Hendry's in the Royal Rumble. Massive crowd pop. Things were going. He chucked out The Miz. And then, of course, the next entrant, he didn't fare so well against Roman Reigns. He went right at Roman Reigns. And he got chucked out by Roman Reigns. That's, if there's a way to be, if there's someone who you want, shoving you out of the Royal Rumble and you're Joe Hendry, your first time. And yes, he's the TNA World Champion, but the former undisputed WWE Universal Champion for several years, Roman Reigns, he's the one you want chucking you out. Of course, before Roman entered, Jacob Fatu did go after Joe Hendry in his celebration, and Sheamus said, hey, I was enjoying that. I thought that was a fun little bit. Let's see, after Roman, put on my little reading glasses here. Thank you, Joe, my brother, for writing this for a little contest that we were doing, pulling numbers out of a hat. He wrote down the entrance in order. So let's see. We had Jacob, we had Roman. Right after Roman was Drew McIntyre. We got Finn Balor. We got Shinsuke Nakamura, whose entrance looks a little bit less impressive when it's not the whole, he's not the sole focus because things are going on. And then we started our portion of what I thought at the time was big names that, they're good to be in the match, but they're not the ones who I think are going to win. Let's see. We had, starting with Jey Uso. Jey, he's great. Everyone, the crowd loves him, but there's no way he's going to win, but he's definitely going to be a factor in this, right? Or so I thought at the time. You sweet Saturday afternoon child. Jey, let's see. We had AJ Styles. Braun Strowman, he's the one who took out Braun Breaker. And then we had someone who people thought might win, John Cena, followed by CM Punk. Punk was the one I thought was going to win. A lot of people thought too. In fact, we got a face-off between the three people. Everyone knew at least one of them would win. We had CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and John Cena. Ooh, which one's is it gonna be? How are we gonna get there? I guess we're gonna have to find out. And then we got Seth Rollins, someone who potentially could win. Obviously went right after Roman. We got Dirty Dom Mysterio, my sentimental favorite, Sami Zayn, Damian Priest, LA Knight, and Logan Paul at number 30. But of course, it was still these three that I still thought was going to win. Eventually, in no particular order, Drew McIntyre's taken out when he was trying to take out Jey Uso by Damian Priest. There was some reports after that Drew McIntyre was upset at someone, possibly LA Knight, no one's really sure who, or somebody was doing something in the match, maybe Logan Paul, sort of upstaged his elimination. There was also, we had obviously Jey Uso took out Sami Zayn, which by accident, which is, I don't know, maybe hopefully that's not going to turn into anything because they are friends and we'll see what's going to happen. Eventually, we ended up with the final six. The final six being John Cena, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth freaking Rollins, Jey Uso, and Logan Paul. Now, you're starting to think, or I was starting to think, okay, fine, we got to whittle this down. There's three people who I'm pretty sure aren't going to be in this one. I didn't think Seth was going to be in it. I didn't think Logan Paul or Jey Uso, but we get this sort of pile up, or not pile up. Seth and Roman are trying to eliminate each other, but then CM Punk comes in and eliminates them both, and he's looking what his handiwork, and then Logan Paul comes from behind him and knocks him out. At this point, I was like, what? We were all, what? Nobody was thinking that was going to happen. There was, of course, a fight on the floor between Punk. Well, it was sort of heated words between Punk and Roman, and Seth came in and stomped Roman. They all fought off. Paul Heyman almost got involved, and eventually they fought off, and then we realized, okay, there's still a match going on in the ring. And even though I had all three of these guys in my pool, I was like, okay, I guess it has to be Cena. I was just hoping it was not going to be Logan Paul. Logan Paul he did the sort of the Kofi Kingston spot where he sort of jumped off the apron to the announce table, and then he jumped back to the steps, and that's how he eliminated AJ Styles. But yeah, I was like hoping it wasn't going to be Logan Paul, and then finally they got Logan Paul out of there, and I was like, okay, it's going to be Cena, right? I mean, I thought he was going to win an Elimination Chamber, but he can't. And then after Cena did his whole, you can't see me, the 5-knuckle shuffle, it looked like he was going to put out Uso, but nope. Uso knocked him off the apron. John Cena was shocked. And the winner of the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble main event, or now WrestleMania main event, as Cole said, Jey Uso. Okay. Despite the shocking we're going to talk about the shocking finish in a bit, but despite everything, honestly, this match was incredible. This is one of the better this is one of the better Rumble matches I've seen in the past few years, at least. This is definitely the best one of the Triple H era. It's going to get the same rating as the women's, A+ across the board, especially the storytelling. The build-up was incredible. Yeah, so no complaints about this match. With the first match, I was happy, even though it was a predictable result. This one, even though it shocked me, and I was like really hoping for CM Punk to win, I'm happy with this result. I mean, I'm hoping Jey goes for Gunther at WrestleMania, because him and Cody would be weird. Plus, I think Punk's going to win Elimination Chamber and fight Cody. And we've already done Jey versus Gunther, but you know what? I think this could really be like Jey could really do the underdog thing. And if it's a prominent place, main event one of the nights, even if it's like not actually the last match, depending on whatever happens, but he's main eventing WrestleMania one of the nights, and against Gunther, I think Gunther could put on an incredible show, and Uso could put on an incredible show, but you almost have to give it to Jey Uso, unless you're going to do something really happy the next night. Although if it's two baby faces, I don't know what happy is in that case. But you know what? For the sheer shock value, for the sheer, like, the fact that not just me, but pretty much all the people online, but yeah, I mean, some people thought it might be Roman or Cena, but like CM Punk was the sort of the underdog favorite. Maybe someone said Seth Rollins. I had Sami Zayn for that, but Jey Uso. But it also makes perfect sense. I mean, he's so over. He's so popular. I think his WrestleMania entrance, especially him and Gunther, even if against Cody, but him versus Gunther at WrestleMania, their entrances are going to be, especially Jey's, is going to be next level. And I think this was a really brilliant way to swerve at everyone. And despite being shocked at the result, and it's not what I wanted, I'm very happy with this result and incredibly happy with this Royal Rumble match overall. This was my review of the 2025 WWE Royal Rumble Premium Live event from Indianapolis, Indiana. Little sidebar, I also liked the fact that they were showing the country, which was a new thing, but they were also showing the stats, eliminated, real sports-based presentation. I think Lee Fitting's doing an incredible job, and I think this is upping the Rumble game to a next level. I think this is not Lee Fitting's first Royal Rumble, but the last time, I mean, he was just on the job like a month or so, or maybe even just a few weeks, and took some time, but we've adapted, and he's adapted, and I like the presentation. The entrances were great. I think we had Sheamus's old theme. I couldn't really hear it. You still got to fix up some of the theme musics. But overall, this is Triple H's best Rumble PLE. You agree with my take? Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Voice Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, at Silo Wrestling on X, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. I'll be back with my assorted thoughts on Raw, and maybe an opinion piece during the week, and my assorted thoughts on SmackDown. For Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.